Hey everybody, it's cold out today and it's only a few days till trapping season. What is today, the 12th? Today's the 12th, so in Missouri I think season opens in 3 days. And I know up north you guys are trapping, a lot of places you're already trapping, catching critters and starting to have a good season. Up north I think you're catching coyotes now, you're catching coons, you're catching a lot of different stuff. So I'm hoping this weather continues, honestly, and it's nice and cool. We can start getting some trapping going pretty darn soon. Today is opening day of deer season, rifle season here in the Ozarks. So a lot of deer hunters out, people out doing stuff. I don't know when I'll put some traps in the ground. Maybe late this week, maybe next week. Most of the places that I go, I need to wait until the deer season is over. The farmers are hunting and things like that, and it's just more complicated when there's people out in the woods and gut piles everywhere. So I don't know. I'll keep you guys up to speed as to when I'm going to get out, and some of it's going to depend on my work schedule. I've got to work some in December. Pretty much not going to work the rest of November, so I should be able to trap some for the next couple weeks. And then it'll be hit and miss through December. January, I'm completely not going to be traveling or doing much work in January. So I'm going to be trapping the whole month. And then February will be hit and miss again. So what I thought I'd do today is go over kind of how my traps are set up. Done this before, but I thought I'd do it again. So let's look at some traps. So my go-to trap, as you know, if you follow the channel, is I'm just predator trapping, right? Mostly coyotes. I let foxes go if I catch them. I will harvest cats if they're a decent size, but mostly after coyotes. So I think I only have a few other traps that are not, very few. Most everything that I am setting is MB 550. I like this. I use the 2-spring, not 2-coil. MB 550 with the offset jaw. I really love this trap. 2-coil is plenty good for me here in the Ozarks. I'm not trapping in frozen Michigan ground all the time, so I don't need a 4-coil trap. 2-coil is plenty strong, holds anything that I'm going to catch. I love the offset jaws. I love everything about this trap. I'm not going to go into all of the details on the MB. I've got other videos out there, but I mean it's a bomb-proof trap. It's night latch. It's got a great D-ring. It's got a great, everything about it is great, and it's good right out of the box. I don't have to do anything to this trap. I literally get it out of the box. You can get the grease off of it. You can dye it. You can wax it. You can do whatever you want to do with it, and you can put it in the ground. There's no other work, so I really like it. As far as the trap setup, I don't modify the trap. I don't do anything to it. I just take it out of the box. I take the grease off of it. If it's brand new, I don't even dye it. I just wax it and put it in the ground. Once it gets some rust on it over that first season, then that second season, I clean them up, power wash them, get them all cleaned up. Then I boil them and dye them, and then I wax them, which is what this trap did. I just waxed these a few weeks ago, and they're all ready to go. The trap itself comes with this swivel right here, MB Crunch Proof swivel, a little bit of chain, and then it comes out to a second swivel. I add the J-hook right here. I add the JC Connor spring. I add another Crunch Proof swivel. So at this point, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 6 swivel points just when I get to this area right here, this spot. I need to work on this little J-hook. Just want to get to this spot, and then I attach the chain to a Fox Hollow earth anchor, and that's my setup. So you can see it's about yay long. It's got 6 swivel points in it, the Fox Hollow anchor, and 3 MB Crunch Proof swivels, and the JC Connor spring. Here in the Ozarks, I do not put all of the chain down in the ground off of what comes with the earth anchor. I'll maybe go this far, maybe 2/3, but what's that, 10 inches? Maybe 10 inches in the ground. I'll kind of, test it and see what it's like. But around here, there's so much clay, there's so much rock. That's about all I need. Nothing's ever gonna pull that out. So I don't hammer it all the way in. And I do that really for a reason, because then they're a real pain in the rear to get out. If I put it about 2/3 of the way in, maybe 3/4 of the way in, it's gonna hold anything I catch. Plus it's much easier for me to get out. So that's kind of my main trap and how I have it set up. I do have some on drags. Again, I'm using MB550s. I have one Sterling, and I have maybe a half a dozen Bridgers that are fully modified that I bought off of someone else. I use them when I get down to where I really just need traps. But if I have traps available, if I have MBs available, that's what I'm putting in the ground. They're my favorite. All right, I do have some drags. Most of my drags are basically this, and these are ones that I just made. It's pretty heavy rebar. It's basically, there's a D-ring welded onto the end of the rebar. There's the rebar. There's, I don't even know what you call this, but there's this little piece that I put on here at the end, and that helps just kind of keep it leveled out. And then I bend the rebar down on one side, up on the other, sharpen both sides so it's nice and sharp. And then this is what I use as a drag. I do not set drags in areas where I can't either pre-wrap it or it's pretty thick and brushy and wooded. I'm not putting them out on edges of fields and stuff like that, where even though most of the animals are gonna go right to the brush as soon as they're caught, I'm just very cautious about where I put the drags. Drags are quick, they're easy to use, they're easy to pull out, and in certain areas where I try to put sets in, sometimes I can't put an earth anchor in. There's too much shelf rock, there's too much ledge rock. I just can't get an earth anchor in, so that's where I am using my drags. On the end of the D-ring, I will hook these a couple different ways, but usually I'm using, and I can't even think of what the name of this little thing is, but you guys all know what it is. This little circle attachment deal. I'll think of it later and put it up here. But and then I hook a crunch-proof swivel on this, so it's swiveling right here on the end. And then I'll add a pile of number 2 chain, usually about 10 feet. And then I put another swivel, crunch-proof swivel, JC Connor spring, another crunch-proof swivel, and then that goes right up into the crunch-proof swivel that's at the base of the MB. And then of course, you can't really tell because I dyed it and waxed it, but my trap tag is on here. I've just wrapped it around one of the loops of the chain. When I do this, I think that works better. I find that if I just leave them loose flapping, they're always getting busted off and whatever. So I just basically circle them and wrap them all up in one of the loops of chain, and then that that has a tendency to stay on there a lot better. I know it's not always easy if you get checked by conservation, but whatever. He's getting paid. He can take this thing off and look at it if that's what he wants to do. It's going to save me from having to mess with this thing all the time and it coming off all the time. I don't want to mess with it. And then I have the MB. That's kind of my setup for the earth anchor, which is most of what I have. And then I probably have about a dozen drags. And then, if you've watched the channel, I seldom ever use dog proofs. And the reason is I'm not targeting coons very often. I only own like maybe 4 or 6 dog proofs, period. And the reason that I even own any is really just to deal with stuff around here, around my house. Coons trying to get in my chicken house all the time and things of that nature. And I'll set some dog proofs around my chicken house just to try to keep them off of my chickens. And I don't want my dogs getting caught in them. But other than that, I can't even remember the last time I set a dog proof out in the field. Will I have 1 or 2 with me sometimes? Yes, I will. If I want to put a coyote trap in, it's a really good set. I got really good coyote sign, but there's also maybe a couple of coon trails that are emptying into maybe a 2-track or something where these coyotes are running as well. Sometimes then I'll put a dog proof in maybe in the coon trail, just to try to keep the coons off of my coyote set. But honestly, I haven't done that in a couple years. So you've never seen me probably even use a dog proof, because I just don't very often. And when I do, like I said, it's just around the house, and I'm just trying to keep the coons off my chicken house, so I don't really even shoot any video of that. So obviously I'm not even dyeing and waxing dog proofs. There's really no purpose in it. So I just paint them. Dog proof, swivel, a little bit of chain, another swivel, and then this particular one has got cable and a Fox Hollow earth anchor, and that's my setup. I don't particularly like cable anchors on my earth anchors, or cable on my earth anchors. I'd much rather have chain. That's just me. That's just my preference. It sticks up out of the ground too much for me sometimes. I may not want to put it this far, all the way into the ground. So I only have maybe a half a dozen of these. Most of the rest of them I got rid of, and got rid of the cable and put chain on the earth anchors or something. So I use these with these dog proofs, and that's about it. I also have a couple of dog proofs where I've got some cable on there, maybe 6 or 8 or so feet, and then that way I can wrap it around like a tree, loop it through a tree, loop it around a sapling or something like that to use as a tie-off rather than use an anchor. But around my chicken house and stuff, I need to be able to put these dog proofs in on an earth anchor. So that's why I have this cable earth anchor on here, and that's why I'm using them, because I don't really like them for my predator sets. And that's really it. That's the setup of the 3 basic traps that I have. Earth anchor with a chain, drag with a chain, and then dog proof, either cable on an earth anchor or cable for a wrap that I can put onto a tree or whatever I'm gonna tie it to, some kind of a tie. So hope that helps. That's just kind of the way I set up my traps. I like this setup. It seems to work really, really well. I like the fact that I have about that much chain on each one of those. I find that when they're anchored, it doesn't give the coyote, it's not too short, but it's not too long either. It's kind of not quite maybe a Western setup, but pretty close. So it doesn't let that coyote have a big run start and lunge and try to pull out. And then you need to have that 10 feet if you're gonna use a drag. You want that long chain on there, help you get all tied up into the brush and tied up and everything. So hope that helps. Try to get out. I got one other video I'm gonna try to get out before the season over the next couple days. And then soon as I start going out and putting some traps in the ground, I'll start shooting some daily kind of semi-live footage. Historically, I try to be about a day behind with that. Sometimes same day, but usually a day or so behind. And I'll keep trying to do that this season as we go along. So hope that helps. Hope you're doing well. If you're already trapping, if you're getting ready to trap, hope you're as excited as me. And if there's any questions, put them in the comments, and we'll talk soon.